Hello everyone, and welcome back to this year's garden. I just thought I would do a quick video here showing everything that got planted. I actually did another video on this, I don't know, about a week ago, and everything now has started to grow and I got the plants in, so I just discarded that video and just wanted to go through so everybody knows what we have planted. I got 80 potato plants planted. You guys watched the video on that. All of them are coming up. And you may see some mosquitoes buzzing in the screen, but they came out 2 days ago and they are out in full force. So we have all 80 potatoes. I mean, I was figuring that out. If you even get 5 potatoes per plant, you got a lot of potatoes. That's like 400 potatoes. So potatoes are doing good. If you remember, I have 275 onion plants that are planted. They are coming up real good. We have yellows, whites, and reds here, or purples, whatever they're called. I have never had any luck with garlic, and this year even the garlic is starting to come up. I haven't weeded these little rows yet because they just started coming up a couple days ago, and now they're shooting up real fast. This over here is the giant garlic, and we'll see how that does, but even that's coming up. These here are turnips. They're coming up good too. Not really sure what I'm going to do with them, but they're growing. I actually transplanted the rhubarb from over on the other side of the garden. I was going to bring this up north to the tent, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put it on the back side of the garden here, see how it does. It kind of wilted a little bit when I transplanted it, and now it's just shooting way up. It's coming to seed, but I really don't know what to do with that, so just letting it grow. Blueberry plants. 3 of the 4 survived the winter. These 2 are getting flowers. This one over here is a different variety and that one's not doing so good. But at least we are going to get a few blueberries. Right next to that now I have 2 newcomers here. These are 2 raspberry plants. Sarah and her boyfriend Chad were over at his folks' house and they came up with these plants. They dug them up out of the raspberry garden that they have and they brought them in, so I just planted these just 2 days ago, and luckily we got about 3/4 of an inch of rain last night and they're starting to perk back up. This over here is the herb garden next to the onions and stuff on the back side of the garden. Last year I had them all in containers, and although that worked, you have to water them so much. It's just hard to keep control of them in containers, and they didn't spread. So, and I just always expect the herbs to spread out, and they never did, and I don't know if these will or not. Another thing that Sarah and Chad brought back to me with the raspberry plants was a mint plant, and she said over there this stuff just spreads everywhere. So I imagine, I'm hoping that these will just kind of become an invasive species that really kind of ticks me off, and I'll just be dehydrating a lot of it, and when I'm sick of them I'll dig them up. Okay, so that kind of takes care of this side of the garden. Alright, so next to that, here are all the beans, and you just look at how nice and straight those rows are. Nice! This row here is 34 feet long, and that is Bush Blue Lake 274s, my very favorite bean. This over here is also Bush Blue Lake 274 that ends right there. That was just the end of a package. Beyond that now, we have the wax beans. I did a whole row last year. I like wax beans, but this year I just thought I would just go, I think that's about 20 feet of it. This row of beans here is my experiment. I always like to have an experiment. So this first part here are red beans, the second part is pinto beans, and the third part is black beans, and they're coming up like crazy. This fence right here between the onions and the potatoes and the beans, this is where we're going to plant the peas this year. They have not been planted. Usually Sarah likes to plant those. I already have all the packages that they just need to be planted, so it'll either get done this week or I'll do it this coming up weekend. This year I moved the tomatoes. They were over where the potatoes are right now. Just wanted to put them in a full row, easier to get at, a little bit more sun here, and I got several varieties. I have 21 plants total. I start here with 4 cherry reds. Then we're going to go to Roma tomatoes, which are so good for, I mean, if you want a meaty tomato, that's pretty good. Then I switch off and go to big boys. Then I have big beef. And these here are my early girls. They'll be my earliest tomatoes. And then I got one plant of the Super Sweet 100s. I had a hard time finding it, and I did find one plant, so I bought it and put that in. I still have to put the rest of the cages in. There's a lot of rocks here, so putting in the cages is super frustrating for me. It really, it just really makes me mad. So I've gotten that far, and I still have more to do. This year I planted one jalapeno pepper. I don't know why I do. I had two of them last year. I did never use any of them fresh. I dehydrated jars worth of them, and there was tons of them that were still on the plant when wintertime came, but just got to have that jalapeno in case all of a sudden I feel like I want to make salsa or something. Okay, so this row here, this starts out with kale. Last year I did 4 or 5 kale plants. I canned a lot of it. I'm still eating it. It's delicious. Very hardy plant. I grew right up until winter. Even after the snow flew, it was still here. So I definitely added a few more. I have 9 plants of those. This here are the collards. That was another one that was an experiment last year that grew real well. And again, I eat that all the time now, and have a lot of it canned. I don't know what I'm going to do this year, but it's growing anyway. I got 4 kohlrabi plants. I had 4 last year also. That'll give me four of them. And it was kind of unique. I just had never grew them before. Had to look up how to cook them and everything, and I really enjoyed them. So this row we're going to start out with broccoli. I don't know, I had 4 or 5 of those last year. I've got 8 this year. One thing good with broccoli and with cauliflower, which is coming up here too, you can eat the leaves. So I canned the leaves too, and they were delicious. So there's a lot more you can do with the plant. After that we have cauliflower. I planted a lot of cauliflower this year, and I mean I got 2 packages of them. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know, 14. I think it was supposed to be 18, and a couple of them weren't there, so I probably have 16 plants of that. And then I planted some by seed, and they took off, so they're growing too. And one thing with cauliflower, usually I would just grow it and you eat it fresh, but it's, you know, it's okay. But I froze a bunch of it last year, and I find now, like if I make a stir fry, I put the cauliflower into the stir fry, man, it just sucks in that flavor so good that I wanted to have a lot, and now I know I have way too many for sure. So that's what all this is right here. So finishing out this row, we have Brussels sprouts. I had, I think, 4 plants last year. I planted 8 this year. They didn't do super good last year. I didn't get any real big ones, but they were up on the other part of the garden, which doesn't get a whole lot of sun. Not as much sun, I shouldn't say a whole lot. It got plenty, but maybe it's a lot wetter on the other side of the garden too, because the water tends to pool down on that side. This is higher. So we'll see what happens. So this row starts out with cabbage. I'm doing purple cabbage this year. I'm doing a late white cabbage here also. I did, I don't know, 3 or 4 heads of cabbage last year. I mean, it's something that I use. I can some of it. Sarah, she really likes to use it too. Cabbage soup is awesome, so I did more of it this year. We'll see how it turns out. I mean, it's a colder weather type plant, but we'll see. We did get heads last year. Okay, these sickly looking things are green. What the heck is it called again? It's like green curled roughy. Sarah got me some pretty neat little seeds for Christmas last year, and I planted these as seeds, and then I didn't harden them though. I just said either you make it or you don't, and threw them in the ground, and they looked pretty sickly the first 2 days, but they're looking a little bit better today. Here I have some white cauliflower and some purple cauliflower. Again, Sarah bought me the purple cauliflower seeds. That'd be interesting. I did these as seeds inside. And, you know, I just really, for me, I really like to go to the nursery and buy the plants. I plant a bunch of the garden in seed. I love to go in the spring and go to the nursery and buy the plants. I think I got that bug from my mom. She loves going to the nursery, and I don't have a whole lot of patience. So I need to work on that and do more seed stuff, but the ones I do have, hopefully they'll turn out good. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so these 2 little guys here are okra. These I planted from seed. I've never grown okra before. That'll be interesting. I did buy 4 okra plants from the nursery. I didn't realize that they would even have that, so we're going to give that a try. And then we move here, and I've got green bell peppers, red bell pepper, orange bell pepper, and right here we have eggplant. And now last year when I got eggplants, you could buy the Japanese eggplant everywhere. And this year I can't find it anywhere. So of course I'm just going with the usual Black Beauty, which is awesome, but those Japanese ones were thinner and longer, and as far as dehydrating goes, you could dehydrate them, and then when they're done, put them in a jar. With the big ones, these Black Beauties, you can do the dehydrating, but unless you split them in half first, they won't fit into the top of a wide-mouthed jar. So, I don't know. At least I'll have some to eat fresh, which is the way they are best. And these are the other 4 okras. Okay, so this row here, what you're seeing, I have 15 feet of carrots. I decided to do Nantes. Usually I'll do like 15 feet of Nantes and 15 feet of Danver half-longs. And this year I just did 15 feet because I canned a bunch last year. I like eating carrots when they're fresh, but you know, you come out here, you eat 1, you eat 2. It doesn't take long until you're done with them. And I do can them, but they're not my favorite vegetable to grab. I'd rather grab a jar of green beans or wax beans or something like that and put some butter in there and some different spices and do that. So 15 feet will be plenty. After that, here I have beets. I like beets. I don't eat them often, but when I do, I really like them. The earthy taste is nice. So I've never grown them myself, so I did 10 feet of beets. And then over here, we have some more of the stuff that I planted inside first. And most of this is, again, like purple cauliflower, and I have some white cauliflower. Okay, so back on this end of the garden, right there, I have some straight 8 cucumbers, which are, you know, perfect for pickling. Here I have some straight neck squash, and this is yellow. I've never grown that before. After that, we have about 26 feet of a row that is not planted, which is perfect because if you wait 2 weeks and go to the nursery or the stores, they always have deals, and then I love it when I still have some room so I can put some stuff in. Okay, so over on this end I added 2 more green pepper plants. I mean, I planted the other ones and I was thinking, well, I want to freeze some this year, and I also want to do some dehydrating of them. I usually don't freeze stuff. I'm always worried that, well, for long-term storage, like what if the power went out? Well, power hasn't went out for a while, so I'm going to freeze some. I added a couple more of those and another eggplant because I just didn't think that 2 was enough. Here now, starting this row, we have a bush variety cucumber again. Over here we have a cucumber that's a vine variety. Another cucumber right here. Continuing on this row, this is zucchini that I actually planted inside the house and took out here. I don't know, look at these zucchinis and look at the zucchini I bought from the nursery. Just totally different. I mean, they look much more healthy than these ones do, but they will come around and they'll get their dark green color. This whole entire row, in fact, is all zucchini. I wanted to get some of these. I don't use that much zucchini. It's good, but I do have pigs coming now in about 3 weeks, and zucchini does have some protein content in it, and pigs love to eat them. Finishing it off now, this row starts with a giant pumpkin, jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. I have 2 acorn squash. I don't much care for acorn squash. My folks love it, so I usually grow it and give it to them. Then we're going to right there, a watermelon. This is a bigger type. This is the sugar baby that I always grow, sugar baby, because I can grow them real well. And then of course a cantaloupe. This is an ambrosia. I do like cantaloupe, so I usually try to put one in, and if you can just learn the right time to pick it before it rots, you're doing good. So over here, you guys remember the strawberry garden. Last year's 8 or 10 plants came up with 106. Actually, I added 3 more, 109, and there are 3 of them that are growing in the garden right now that I'm just going to leave over there that popped up by the fence for the peas. And now you can see they're all getting flowers on them. They're really doing good, so I think we're going to get a lot of strawberries. In fact, what we're going to do this year is we're actually going to keep a little journal, because Sarah will come out here and eat them, I'll eat them. If Zach comes over, he'll eat them. Everybody eats the strawberries, but I'd like to know how many strawberries you get from 109 strawberry plants. Now that I have the garden mainly all planted, I'm going to take and run the fence around again to keep any deer, or, well, deer could jump in. I don't have a big problem with them here until fall, but the rabbits, and I haven't even seen as many rabbits as I did last year, but I think I'm still going to fence it. But other than that, garden is pretty much planted. Now it's just time to watch it grow. Okay everyone, well, thanks a lot for watching this year's garden update video. Everything is planted now, and as the season goes on here, there'll be a lot more videos to come. I almost forgot. I didn't plant any sweet corn this year. I explained that in the other video, but I did plant popcorn.